Well, hello and welcome, everybody. This is your host, KenDFoster. Did you know that there are major breakthroughs that are happening right now in neuroscience? We are really starting to understand what motivates individuals, what stops individuals from being productive and really being the best version of themselves. We're learning so much in neuroscience, but for a lot of us, we don't know too much about it. Well, today, on this show, you're going to take a little deeper dive into a neuroscience. And there's another piece to this. If you're in a place where you're feeling a little stuck, maybe, or your business isn't where you want it, we're going to be talking about how to relaunch your business in a way that probably you've never done before. And, so I'm hoping you'll be excited, get motivated with this. And if you have some family or friends that you might want to let them know about this show, please do. I'm going to take a quick break. And when we come back, I'm going to introduce my guest who's going to talk to you about changing up your business and maybe even your life. We'll be right back.
Are you over 50? Would you like to get up to 33% more income in retirement? Then call now for this free book, Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers. This free book reveals little-known secrets about annuity strategies that will help you make the right choices before buying an annuity. Call right now for your free book, and as a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report, both absolutely free for calling Annuity General today.
Call 800-510-0470.
Hi, folks. Medicare Part C plans with extra benefits like getting money added back to your Social Security check may now be available to you in your zip code. Make sure you're not missing out. It's simple. 1, call the number on your screen. 2, they'll look up your zip code and see if you're eligible. 3, they'll check for plans with extra benefits like prescriptions, dental coverage, and the benefit that adds money back to your Social Security check every single month. Call now.
I called to get everything I deserve.
I called to check my zip code for a plan with a benefit that adds money back to my Social Security check.
I called to check my zip code.
Millions of people have called the Medicare Coverage Helpline. Call, check your zip code, see if you're eligible, and get what you deserve. Call now.
Call 1-800-374-2308. That's 1-800-374-2308 now.
If you or someone you love has developed Parkinson's disease after being exposed to gramoxone or any herbicide containing the deadly chemical paraquat, you may be entitled to financial compensation. If you developed Parkinson's and worked or lived on a farm that used paraquat herbicide treatments with gramoxone, Firestorm, or any listed brand, call now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. There are time deadlines, so don't delay. If you don't win, you pay nothing.
800-771-3380.
Well, welcome back, everybody. As I promised, I have my guest in studio with me, Hilary DeCesare. Hilary, welcome to the show.
Hey, Ken, good to be here.
It's so good to have you. Let me give you a formal introduction to my guest that may not know you. Hilary is an award-winning business expert. She's an esteemed author, and she's the host of the Relaunch podcast. She brings, quite frankly, fresh energy into leaders, CEOs, and solopreneurs. She's widely recognized for her work in neuropsychology as it relates to business. Hilary, it's great to have you.
Thank you so much. So happy to be here and sharing what I know about neuroscience and breaking it down and making it as easy as possible for your audience to follow.
Well, what caught my attention is that you were on The Secret Millionaire. You've been on ABC, CBS, NBC, a whole gamut of them. And, I'm like, okay, Hilary's out there. She's the real deal. Let me just get started. How did you get into this space in neuropsychology?
Well, it started when I became passionate in college. I went in pre-med and I'm like, I did not end up wanting to be a doctor after about a year. Grandfather was a doctor, dad was a doctor. And I thought, all right, what can I do? And my dad said, you can do anything, Hilary, but you have to be done in 4 years because that's all I'm going to pay for. So I had to come up with something really quickly. And psychology was something I could leverage what I had been taking. So I got my degree in psychology, but I didn't take the path at that point. I ended up going into business instead and worked at a corporate high-tech company in Silicon Valley for almost 10 years, got the entrepreneur bug and launched and grew multiple amounts of companies. And during this whole time, I was always passionate about helping people elevate themselves, get to the highest level of success, whatever that means for them. And as I was doing this myself, and I've been coaching people for over, 2 decades now. So there's a lot of information that has come into my ecosystem that has been debunked over the years. And about 10 years ago, I had the pleasure of meeting a gentleman that was on the hit blockbuster The Secret, John Assaraf. And he said to me, you're missing a key component, Hilary. You're using it, you're doing it within your own life, but you could be excelling even more. And it's called neuroscience. And that's when I started to take a deep dive into, all right, I get how biology plays a factor. I get how, the differences in gender intelligence in our brains. I understand the psychology behind it, but neuroscience, what exactly is going on? And more importantly, how could I tap into this resource that is readily available and elevate my own self, elevate my game, elevate like all areas of my life, both personally and professionally. And that's when it all clicked for me. I started to learn the basics behind it. And I became, obsessed with it. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much here that could be the answer for people on why they're not achieving the success that they've always believed could happen or others have had happen, but
I love that.
it's been evading, them. They haven't
Yeah.
been able to get there.
Yeah, well, I love that. I like to spend some time on that. John Assaraf is a friend of mine. Him and I launched our first books together. Mine was called Ask and You Will Succeed. His was Having It All in 2003 as we sat in Mark Victor Hansen and Jack Canfield's program to help us launch books. So we go way back together. John has made a lot of strides in neuroscience. So let me ask you this. You have a 6-step belief buster method to actually help people to let go of their limiting beliefs. Can we talk a little bit about that and what's involved with that? Because I think my audience would be very impressed.
Well, you know what? And it all stems from, if you can see behind me, I've recently launched a book called Relaunch, Ignite Your Life, Ignite or Spark Your Heart to Ignite Your Life. And in the book, I actually detail out this process because for me, these people who hold the keys to the kingdom and you have to, work with them specifically in order to get to the process or the methodology doesn't work for me. I want everyone to have this simple step, this process, but I need to take you back just a little bit in order for you to understand that, yes, we all have limiting beliefs and we all have empowering beliefs. And how we know that is when we have fears of something in the future to come, fears that haven't happened yet. It's usually based around a limiting belief. All right. And a limiting belief is from something that's happened to us when we were in our youth. And so all of a sudden you have these limiting beliefs. You don't even know where they came from. Sometimes we don't even know that they're operating behind the scene in our subconscious. But when we do realize it is when we're going to increase and scale our business. And all of a sudden we hit a wall, we hit a plateau. We can't scale it. Why? I'm doing everything right, but it's not happening. Or we get into a relationship and it breaks apart and you all of a sudden are trying to go for another relationship. You're like, why do I keep bringing in the same type of guy, the same type of woman? And then you can start to realize that, there's something going on here. And what I call those limiting beliefs are called bugs, BUGS, beliefs underground surfacing. And those beliefs, those bugs, come out at the most inopportune time. They come out when things could be going great. And then all of a sudden it's like, you hit the wall, or you just can't get over the hump, or you have you have a little success and then, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. That's when wait a second, I can identify that, what Hilary said, it's a bug. And so what I did when I was, reviewing and learning and going back and looking at my psychology days, there was something called ANTs, and those were the automated negative thoughts. And I thought to myself, you know what? There's been so much contradiction. How many thoughts does somebody have every day? And there was this when, I first was learning about this, they said, 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day that go through your brain, go through your mind. And then about 2 years ago, that got debunked. And it was like, no. It's 6,250 thoughts a day that go through your head. Well, that's still a ton. But here's the thing. How many of those are negative, limiting, and how many are positive and empowering? And I started to want to help people figure out how to get rid of those limiting beliefs, but not just by willpower, not just by pushing it down, not just by I'm going to make this happen, because they'll always come back. Those neural pathways in your head are so deep that they will always come back. And so what I ended up doing was creating the belief blaster. And it's actually even been abbreviated to 5 steps now.
I love it. Well, listen, I got to take a quick break. We'll come back. Are we going to visit those 5 steps?
Would love it. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So we'll take a quick break and we will be right back.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Diabetics understand all too well the pain of pricking your fingers, but now by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor or CGM, you can immediately reduce your pain. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 4 or more times daily, injecting insulin 3 or more times daily, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. If you or someone you love has developed Parkinson's disease after being exposed to gramoxone or any herbicide containing the deadly chemical paraquat, you may be entitled to financial compensation. If you developed Parkinson's and worked or lived on a farm that used paraquat herbicide treatments with gramoxone, Firestorm, or any listed brand, call now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. There are time deadlines, so don't delay. If you don't win, you pay nothing.
800-771-3380.
CBD, you've heard about it. It's helping people relieve chronic pain, improve sleep, and reduce stress. But how do you find science-based products that feel right for you? Feel Good Hemp was started after the founders used CBD oil to help their dad heal from a 3-month-to-live diagnosis. They deliver all-natural, lab-tested, high-quality products at affordable prices. So visit feelgoodhemp.org/courage and be sure to use coupon code COURAGE25 to get 25% off your first order. Well, welcome back, everybody. If you just joined us, I'm your host, KenDFoster, and my guest today is Hilary DeCesare, and she and I probably butchered that name. I'm so sorry,
DeCesare, but it's okay.
DeCesare. Yeah, I heard myself go, "Oh my goodness." Uh, anyway, we're talking about the neuropsychology and how you can maybe get rid of some limiting beliefs that'll really take your life to the next level. Hilary, go ahead and continue on with this.
Okay, well, let's just say really fast, what are they? These 5 steps. And it's realize, then there's the awareness, then there's this releasing process. And step 4 is this relaunch flip, which I'm going to teach you today. And then last is retraining the brain. So very quickly, this is something that you can start on your path, on your journey right now. And these simple steps are going to actually take you to that point where, hey, I cannot believe how much this is helping advance me in my personal professional life. So first one I said was this realize. You got to realize that you're not where you want to be in some area of your life. You're maybe not as, you're not making as much money, or you're not making as much impact, or you're not with, a person in your relationship where it is. So you got to realize. And then once you realize that you're not where you are, where you want to be, or that you want to keep growing, then you have to realize that there must be a limiting belief holding you back. So then you identify like, okay, what could it possibly be? And you relate it to what you're not getting in life. So you realize that you have this. All right. The next is this awareness in your life where you have actually seen your limiting belief. Let's say, I'm not good enough. I've never been able to cross the 7-figure mark. Let's just use that one. Okay. I've always been a 6-figure business. I just can't do it. So you go back and you realize, like, throughout your life, you go back and you're aware, when was that true? When did you actually look there? I wasn't good enough there. I wasn't good enough there. I wasn't able to hit it. I was able to get 2 quarters in, and then somehow it didn't work out. So you're showing yourself that, yeah, all right, I now have observations. I have evidence that this is true. But here's the best part of this. I then have people go through the decades. I always have people start with the decade they're in and go backwards and realize that you actually, in step 3, you can go back and realize that that's not always the case. You were good enough at some point and maybe something else. And if you've been good enough in one thing, then it crosses over into what you're trying to be good enough, like crossing that 6 to 7 figure number. Okay. So once you do that, then there has to be this releasing of, where did you start to have this happen? Where in your life did this first occur that you felt like you weren't good enough? You felt like, yeah, I just couldn't get past that threshold. And we realize that there is most likely a person involved in why you have this repeating, limiting belief, the story that you keep behind the scenes running. And that's where you can do a release letter, which we write, or you can do it via a mirroring process. You can do it in a multitude of different ways, but it literally allows you to disconnect from it. But then there's this key point, the relaunch flip, step number 4. And what that is you take your limiting belief and you reframe it, you rephrase it, you put it into the opposite. And this is a muscle that we need to be increasing. The relaunch flip allows you to take, I'm not good enough. I can't be a CEO, an entrepreneur of a 7-figure business. And you take the opposite. I am confident in my skills to be a 7-figure business owner. I am good enough to have a company that crushes it out there, that is, completely doing everything that I set out to do, that is impacting millions of people. So you do the relaunch flip, which is good to do in any area of your life. And then you go into a wonderful app that I'm not involved with at all, but it's actually one that you're going to be creating your actual affirmations in. It's called Listen Up. And what you're going to do in that is record those relaunch flips. And by recording them in your own voice, And then you go ahead and listen to them every morning, every night, 5 minutes, 5 minutes. And you do this for a period of 62 to 67 days, which is how long it takes to actually break apart a neural pathway, a limiting belief, so that it's not like you're just, throwing a little gravel over it, a little cement over it. You're going to the depths of it and you are literally taking it apart as if you're watching it on a scan, a medical scan. It is dividing, it is releasing. And at that point, you've now created a new neural pathway that is the empowering belief.
I love that. Let me ask you this, and then we'll answer it right after the break. How long does it take to reprogram I am a powerful creator, I am good enough, or how many times, when that other neural pathway, that other groove that I'm not good enough, you got years of evidence to support that. How fast can you break that? We're going to answer that when we get back from the break. All righty.
If you or someone you love has developed Parkinson's disease after being exposed to gramoxone or any herbicide containing the deadly chemical paraquat, you may be entitled to financial compensation. If you developed Parkinson's and worked or lived on a farm that used paraquat herbicide treatments with gramoxone, Firestorm, or any listed brand, call now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. There are time deadlines, so don't delay. If you don't win, you pay nothing.
800-771-3380.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Diabetics understand all too well the pain of pricking your fingers, but now by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor or CGM, you can immediately reduce your pain. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 4 or more times daily, injecting insulin 3 or more times daily, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now.
Hi, folks. Medicare Part C plans with extra benefits like getting money added back to your Social Security check may now be available to you in your zip code. Make sure you're not missing out. It's simple. 1, call the number on your screen. 2, they'll look up your zip code and see if you're eligible. 3, they'll check for plans with extra benefits like prescriptions, dental coverage, and the benefit that adds money back to your Social Security check every single month. Call now.
I called to get everything I deserve.
I called to check my zip code for a plan with a benefit that adds money back to my Social Security check.
I called to check my zip code.
Millions of people have called the Medicare Coverage Helpline. Call, check your zip code, see if you're eligible, and get what you deserve. Call now.
Call 1-800-374-2308. That's 1-800-374-2308 now.
Are you feeling stuck or in a holding pattern with your business or life, and you're not doing the things you want or love? Then at some point, you're going to be faced with a decision. You'll either choose to keep living in your comfort zone and risk a life of mediocrity, or increase your courage, step into your power, and forge into the unknown, where everything new becomes possible. If you're truly ready to live masterfully, then you need KenDFoster's newest book, The Courage to Change Everything, Strategies and Wisdom to Transform Your Life One Day at a Time. This powerful but simple guide provides you with 365 days of life-transforming wisdom, profound questions, and action steps that will increase your strength and open the doors to success. Stop wondering why your business or life isn't working. The answers are available now. Imagine if you had more courage or another chance to start following your dreams. To pick up your copy of The Courage to Change Everything, visit thecouragetochangeeverything.com. That's thecouragetochangeeverything.com.
Well, welcome back. I'm with Hilary DeCesare, and she has a new book out called Relaunch. And we're talking about how fast we can reprogram our thinking with the method that Hilary is presenting. So, Hilary, it's up to you. Take it away. How fast can we do this?
So as I said, it's, this is not something that as we have been taught 21 days and you're good and you've got this, new neural pathway or you've got this new habit. It's not the case. When you have a neural pathway, it actually will take 62 to 67 days for that to break apart, to create a new affirming, a new positive way to look at that, an empowering belief. And so what I always ask people to do is it maybe has taken you 40, 50, 60 years to get to where you are. 62 to 67 days is nothing in the grand scheme of things. When you think about once that is gone out of your life, what would that mean for you in the future?
Okay. Can you still hear me okay?
I can. Awesome.
Okay, it's wild. Half of the dashboard went away for some reason. Anyway, okay, so let me ask you this then. You have something. There's an evolution going on with IQ, EQ, 3HQ. What's that all about? What is that?
So, Ken, in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, IQ was everything. How intelligent are you? What problem solving? They even started to measure leadership in how much IQ do you have in order to get certain positions. And then they realized in the 90s, this new information came out about, wait a second, not only, okay, IQ, yeah, you got to be intelligent, but EQ, this emotional quotient, how empathetic are you? That became something that is now like, in the 90s, like, oh my gosh, you have to have a high level of EQ. Well, with everything that has happened in the world and even in the early, 2013, Sheryl Sandberg, who was the former COO of Facebook Meta, she came out with the principle of lean in. And we soon realized that women that were going and leaning in were leaving things behind. They were leaving their families behind. They were leaving their happiness behind. And that didn't work either. So as we come through, and it's not a new normal we're looking at with the pandemic, it's a new different. And the new different circles now around this great new concept called 3HQ. 3HQ stands for the 3 H's: head, heart, higher self. This encompasses this new way of being in the sense of how can you get out of your head, get out of your own way, tap into your why, right? You might be looking at, a hybrid right now in terms of your job. You might be thinking about making a total change. You might be like, hey, I'm really not happy with where I am. I'm not liking myself. How do I possibly move to the love area of go to like to love? Tough. You got to be thinking maybe you don't even like where you are right now. So how do you take it from that initial step of self-sabotage of, I don't even know what I'm doing, and maybe you're in the mid zone that I call middle age? This is something that I really want you to be thinking about, because getting out of your head, tapping into your heart, that heart center, which is where leadership is going now, that we are in this hybrid world. But then once you have those two in alignment, it's tapping into your higher self. What is higher self? Higher self is the best version of you. It's when you're operating, it's when you are at your highest level of energy. Like energy attracts like energy. Mm-hmm. So that's the whole principle of 3HQ, and really using it for not only your personal life, but also your professional one.
Well, when we're talking about higher self, because that's a topic near and dear to my heart, I really like the fact that how you defined it. I think, when we're in that level, when we're playing at that place, we're more an observer of our life. We are in a place where we realize that all circumstances are neutral. We're the ones adding the juice to the circumstances in our life, or pulling the juice out of it. And we're in a place where I would say the higher self is almost like the zone. you're feeling powerful, you're feeling alive, you're feeling alert, you're more productive, you're more attuned to life and how life can really work for a person. So I think there's a lot to that higher self, Hilary.
Well, and I think that when people are trying to figure out, who am I? What is my purpose? Why am I not happy where I am in life? Usually what is going on is that there is a disconnect within your 3HQ. Something is out of alignment, and majority is back in the head. With all of the things that are going on, we have global relaunches happening, we have business relaunches happening, and we have personal relaunches happening right now.
Yeah.
And for some of us, every single one of those that I just named is occurring. You've got the global pandemic, you've got wars, you've got financial crisis. Then in business, you might have, a change. You might be in that hybrid environment. You might be thinking, I'm going to go from corporate to entrepreneurship or entrepreneurship to corporate. And then in the personal, you might be struggling with relationships or, that incredible relationship with yourself and the lack thereof. So relaunch is really something that is no longer, and it's not a pivot I'm talking about. It's not a go right, go left. A relaunch gets at the foundation of it all. It really taps into the 3HQ. So in order to operate at that higher self, right? If you're too caught up in your head, you're too caught up in even the limiting beliefs or the negativity that's going on around you, and you're absorbing that. Well, what you have today and what you're thinking or speaking, it will occur for you tomorrow or in the near future. It's just, it's what happens. So we all of a sudden have this power, this incredible power as a human being to say, I don't want that anymore. And how do I now take the next step to get out of my head? Hilary, I want to understand my purpose. I want to understand my why. I don't want, and this is the thing. You've got a lot of the gurus out there that are on the podiums and they're on the Zooms and they're, saying, love yourself, love your life, love, 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 love. And for many right now, we're not in the position to love. We barely are in the position to like. So we want to go from this place of discontent to getting to like yourself, like your job, like your life. And then from there, we can move it up the scale. And with that comes a level of energy. And when you think about the energy that comes with that discontent, that anger, that the shame of I'm not providing, I'm not doing what I thought I would do. That's a very low level of energy, a low level of vibration, a low level of frequency. And to get to that higher self, we got to bring you up the ladder.
Yeah. Well, and to get to the higher self, I think there's time that we need time to attend these workshops like yours and contemplate and read books like yours and meditate and go within. I want to ask you questions that's a little off the chart, but I think it's important here. Information is doubling every 12 hours now. So there's this massive amount of information. You can Google anything pretty much now. How important is this when we're talking about higher self is the intuition, the intuitive part of ourself to navigate and with the choices that we're making here?
So this is probably the heart and soul of what I really get to, which is we have the greatest gift, the greatest tool for success right within us. The problem is that we have been forced to push down what we call intuition, ESP, this knowing. And when you heard about the 3HQ, you've got the head, the heart, the higher self. The head is this power that we have, the power to know. The heart is this idea of this emotion, this connection, this feeling. And then at the higher self, that there's a sixth sense. So I would ask everybody that's listening, when you get an intuitive hit, is it from the head and you just know? Is it from the heart and you've got this feeling? Or is it a sense that's really coming from this higher place? And once we can start to tap into that, yeah, we all have it. We all have intuition within us, but how much are you leveraging it? 40% of Fortune 500s now are actually putting in courses and classes to help their management tap in more to their intuition. And there's been this, this thing that everyone knows about. It's called women's intuition. I'm often asked, do women have a higher sense of intuition than men? Well, if you look at how our brains work, and you look at, even the way that we have corpus callosum in the women is 40% larger than men, which means men have this desire to be very focused in one area. Women multitask. Well, as you go into intuition, it's everyone has the ability to create an excessive amount of intuition. But what happens is that we get an intuitive hit and we're like, and then we don't listen to it. We may hear it, but we don't listen. We don't act on it. And it may be that in the past, you had an intuitive hit, you had this like knowing or the feeling or the sense, and it didn't work out the way you thought it would. And I would challenge you to rethink that attitude about it and say, maybe it was your interpretation of the intuitive hit that was wrong. Because intuition, when it is 90% plus accurate. It's our interpretation. It's how we read it. So just like you go out and you physically get your body in great shape, we have to mentally get our mind in great shape as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I, not to disagree, but to disagree with you, I believe my intuition is about 100% accurate. When it's the real intuition, it's right on.
And Ken, I feel the same.
Yeah.
We have developed that muscle where others sometimes, it takes a while. So I think we both have been students.
I agree with you. I think most people, they start out, their intuition is maybe 30%, 50%. It's undeveloped. They have a gut instinct, like you said, but they don't really pay attention to it. I know for me, I took some kind of little slaps around, got slapped around a little bit as I was learning what is intuition and what isn't, right? So, yeah, but we can all develop it. That's the point here. And I love what you're saying. Let's talk about your the book a little bit more. Where can people get the book right now?
They can get it on, you can actually go to the relaunchco.com and you can go right there, or you can go to Amazon. It's right there as well. Relaunch, Spark Your Heart to Ignite Your Life. And you can get it pretty much anywhere books are being sold.
That's awesome. Okay. Well, it's on the screen right now, the relaunchco.com. You can get the book Relaunch and really start to, I love what you said about the 60 days to really commit to 60, 67 days, whatever it is, but really commit to that, to changing up the habit, and for my audience, as we're listening here to Hilary, I really encourage you to not only get the book, but pick one area, whether it's in business or life, that you're going to transition in the next 60 days. Just pick it. Why not? Somebody's got to do it. Might as well be you. Might as well be now, right?
I love that. I always say relaunch now. Why wait, right?
why wait? It's like we're talking about it now. Let's do it. Let's do it now. Let's talk a little bit about the core. You talk about getting to the core of business. Does one have to get to the core themselves before they get to the core of their business? Or are they interchangeable? You can do one first, the other next?
So we always talk about your business, whether you're in an entrepreneur position or whether you are at corporate, the business is a reflection of you and how you show up, how you are, if you have a limiting belief around, I can never balance my checkbook in the right way. It never works out. I'm terrible with money. So how do you think that's going to show up in your business? So a lot of times, and in the book, as you mentioned, that's just come out, a lot of times what I say is start with the personal 3HQ. Start working on that 3HQ, because then when you move into business, 3HQ is there too. Your business has limiting beliefs. Your business has this, this idea of, is it a place of, liking itself, loving itself, hating itself? It keeps failing. This project never works. This doesn't happen. And then there also is an identity to your business. There is, I always say, like, what's the persona that your business is carrying? And it's amazing, especially if you're a solopreneur or a purposepreneur, or you're going out there and really trying to make an impact, when you can get yourself in alignment and then you start to work on the business from those same principles. It is amazing how much faster you see success than that, slog of like, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that. And then again, why are things not working? And then you have to realize that when you understand 3HQ in yourself, you then can be a better leader. You can then be a better manager. You can then be a better spouse, a better partner. And that's what matters. So I always say, start with that personal side. Now, a lot of times people come to me and I do a free workshop on 3HQ. And they say, but you know what, Hilary, my business, I have to focus on my business first. And I say, all right, so let's focus on the 3HQ in the business. It's still the 3HQ, but what happens is they're one and the same, right? When you start to really think about it, when you start to get out of your head, the head, what's holding you back? What is the identity of you? Where do you want to be in 12 months versus right now? Same thing for your business. So they're all very, synergetically aligned.
Okay. Well, I love that. And, you started to mention a little bit about personal energy and when you just talked. So I'm thinking about, there are individuals out there that they have energy that is it's kind of stop-start energy. They start out great in the morning, they stop at noon, they may have some energy later in the day, but their energy is all over the place. Can tapping into 3HQ release that so that they have energy all the time?
Yes, the answer is yes. But here's the thing. I also want people to know that sometimes we wake up and we've got great energy. Sometimes we wake up and it's like, rah, rah, we have no idea what just happened. Like, I went to bed, I was fine. I woke up and I'm in a miserable mood. There's a lot that goes on in the subconscious brain at night when you're sleeping, when you're dreaming, when you are about to go to sleep and you have that one last thought that, hey, this happened negatively during the day, that then ends up overnight creating this level of energy for yourself. Just as if you had a great night of sleep and you had great dreams and you had great, you went to bed thinking positive thoughts, you wake up, your energy is high. What happens is throughout the day, for so many of us, we look at energy as something that is depleted. And we look at it many times, it's an energy leak, right? Oh God, that project just leaks me. It just keeps draining me. And then I'm sure you've heard, I'm sure if it's not you, there's other people that are going to be like nodding their head here, that about 2 or 3 o'clock, you go through the afternoon dip. I have no energy. I have to get a cup of coffee. I have to eat chocolate. I have to eat chips, whatever it is. And here's the thing. That's actually a limiting belief. That's actually a habit that you have created through a belief that I always get tired at. Well, what if we got rid of that? It's a bug. We got rid of it through the belief blaster. We change that. And we then go ahead and say, there's very few people that have that high state of energy from the moment they wake up until they go to sleep. Very few. And what for most of us, what we have to do is realize that, the circadian rhythm of when we really have our truly, energetic, creative times, we need to be making sure that we're leveraging that for the highest level activities that we're doing, which will then fuel our energy. There's something that I call the G zone. And the G zone is not only your genius zone, but it's your great zone. It's your growth zone. It's your gratitude zone. Then when you cannot just have that one time where I'm in my genius zone, I'm doing everything I want to do for that 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour block of time that you have, then you start to say, but I also have that when I go and do something for myself. I go out and I exercise, I go out and I walk, I go out or I meditate. I just give myself a little of that. All of a sudden you realize that you are actually in control of your energy level and the spikes. And by fueling yourself up with activities that actually fuel you, that fill up your tank, I often say that's your launch pad. And in the morning, great way to assess where you are is you say, okay, this morning, right now, when I first wake up, 1 to 10, where's my energy level? 10 being I'm off the charts, I'm doing so great. 1 is I'm like really, I'm down in the dumps. I give myself a score, but I also know, where do I expect myself to be if I'm doing anything work related that's going to impact the people that I work with? And then I say, how do I get myself up? And there's certain things that you can do to build up your energy, to build up that level of energy.
I love that. Got to take another quick breaks, but when we come back, I want to talk about being in the abundance zone and how we can step it up into that place, because a lot of people don't live from that place. So we'll be right back.
Are you being audited, and do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate your tax bill and reduce your stress. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, do not call the IRS alone. Call a Tax Doctor now for a tax emergency analysis.
If you or someone you love has developed Parkinson's disease after being exposed to gramoxone or any herbicide containing the deadly chemical paraquat, you may be entitled to financial compensation. If you developed Parkinson's and worked or lived on a farm that used paraquat herbicide treatments with gramoxone, Firestorm, or any listed brand, call now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. There are time deadlines, so don't delay. If you don't win, you pay nothing.
800-771-3380.
Are you feeling stuck or in a holding pattern with your business or life, and you're not doing the things you want or love? Then at some point, you're going to be faced with a decision. You'll either choose to keep living in your comfort zone and risk a life of mediocrity, or increase your courage, step into your power, and forge into the unknown, where everything new becomes possible. If you're truly ready to live masterfully, then you need KenDFoster's newest book, The Courage to Change Everything, Strategies and Wisdom to Transform Your Life One Day at a Time. This powerful but simple guide provides you with 365 days of life-transforming wisdom, profound questions, and action steps that will increase your strength and open the doors to success. Stop wondering why your business or life isn't working. The answers are available now. Imagine if you had more courage or another chance to start following your dreams. To pick up your copy of The Courage to Change Everything, visit thecouragetochangeeverything.com. That's thecouragetochangeeverything.com.
Well, welcome back, everybody. I'm talking with Hilary DeCesare today. We're really talking about how you can change up your business, your life in so many ways, and actually, in a relatively speaking, a very quick process. So, Hilary, this has been fascinating. I really enjoy what you've been telling everybody in our audience. The abundance zone. We got just a few minutes left, actually about 2 minutes left here. Can you touch on that real quick?
It really has to do with that G zone. When you realize that what you're really going for, abundance in your overall happiness, abundance in finance, abundance in relationships, abundance in all the different areas, you have the choice to, again, best thing that human beings have is that we can choose. We can choose. Number one thing is our thoughts. All right. So when you look at it, a lot of times what's holding you back is the way that you're viewing abundance in finance or abundance in relationships, because you might be at a limiting belief going towards that. There might be a limiting belief that's holding you back, so you can't achieve that abundance. That's where 3HQ comes in. Get out of your head. Get rid of your bug, do the belief blaster, identify what is that identity that you want to be, and then understand that your core values, and if abundance, and define it, what does that mean to you? Is abundance, prosperous in all areas? What is it that you're really going for? Be clear.
I love it. Well, again, this was a fascinating interview, and I'm sure my audience is really going to appreciate this. So thank you so much for being here. Any final thoughts?
Ken, I said it before, it's live now, love now, but relaunch now. This is the time where everybody, there is not one person that I talk to that isn't going through some type of relaunch. And there are going to be the successful relaunches and the ones that aren't successful. Get on the path to success. Understand how 3HQ can help you.
That's great. Thank you so much, Hilary. Thank you for being here. So for all of you that are listening to this show, I want to thank you for your audience participation. And, this was an amazing show. So I hope you'll pass that on to a family member or a friend or someone that can really use this information to be able to up-level their life, to live in the higher levels of life, right? And have more joy and happiness, more abundance, more friendship in their life, right? That's what this show is about. So I hope you, again, will let those that you love know about this show. From my heart to yours, until we meet next time, continue to look for and seek and see the unseeable and know the unknowable, and then you'll be able to do the impossible. Take care.